This video is about Mad City Windows and Baths. They are a regional replacement window company in the Midwest. They have a location just down the street from where I live, so they were the first company I invited in to give us a quote. I'll share with you my experience as a homeowner, their price for my home with 12 windows, their product selections, and my opinion on their presentation and their pitch. Hi friends, I'm the Wacky Window Woman. I'm not a contractor. I'm not trying to sell you windows. I'm just a regular homeowner who needed to replace the windows in my home. We built our home in 2016, and as we move into the 10th year of living in this house, the builder grade windows just aren't cutting it for us any longer. Now don't get me wrong, I love air conditioning, but when the weather is conducive, my husband and I like to have our windows open. But in the past few seasons, it seems like it gets harder and harder to get them up and then to get them back down. I've sat through the demos, so you don't have to. Be sure to see my Wacky Window Woman comparison chart. I'll put the link to that chart in the description below. So I tried to call around to get quotes for my replacement windows. So I assumed if I had the sizes of the windows, how many windows I had, I would be able to get at least a few companies to email me a quote. But no. At this point in my window shopping journey, I have only found one company who provides a quote without coming into your home. But at least I did eventually find one, and I'll share with you who that was here in a few minutes. Okay, so let's talk about Mad City Windows and Baths. So Mad City offers windows, replacement baths, and showers along with kitchen remodeling. They were the first company that we had in to give us a bid for our window project of 12 windows. So the sales rep they sent out to our house was Mike, and apparently Mike liked my husband and I a lot, a lot, because he was here for 2.5 hours. Heck, even my friends don't stay that long when they come over to visit. I'm convinced that Mad City's strategy is to drag out the presentation, hoping to wear us as consumers out so that we'll make a decision on the spot. When Mike arrived, he was very kind and accommodating to our barking dog. And once things settled down, he got right to work asking us questions around what we were looking for and why we wanted to replace our windows and had we had anybody else out to give us a quote. So we shared with him that he was the first one we invited into our home and that we did not plan on making a decision today, as we had agreed as a couple to get at least 3 quotes before we make a decision. So Mike asked us to walk him around the house so he could count the number of windows, get basic measurements, and then get a feel for exactly which windows we wanted to replace. Then he asked if we could sit down at the dining room table, and he began his presentation. So he showed us a couple brochures. He talked a little bit about his Soft Light brand windows, and then he got out his heat lamp preparing to do a demonstration of how heat either does or doesn't transfer through different window glass packages. So first he shared with us, or demonstrated for us, what a plain piece of glass does when you put a heat lamp right next to it. Basically, the heat comes right through it, no protection at all. Then he showed us how double pane without low E and then double pane with low E in argon, how they keep out the most heat. And I have to be honest, his presentation really impressed me. But little did I know that most of the replacement window reps who would follow him would do the exact same presentation. Once he finished with his heat lamp show, he then went out to his car to bring in his window sample. The window that Mad City sells is made by a company called Soft Light, and based on his presentation, it seemed like a really, really good window, but it comes with a very, very, very high price tag. He also spent quite a bit of time talking about the warranty, and to be honest, they seem to offer one of the best warranties, but again, it's at a very high premium price, I later learned. At the 2-hour mark, when he was finally able to get to the point where he was ready to share pricing with us, I had no idea what to expect, but I certainly wasn't expecting it to be more than $20,000 for 12 windows. The actual quote was $21,575, which puts them in 5th place out of 7 companies on the Wacky Window Woman price comparison chart. And of course, this was after he plugged in a boatload of discounts. And one of them was based on us letting them make our home a promotional home, which meant we had to put a sign in our yard for 30 days. So Mike from Mad City did put quite a bit of pressure on us to make a decision that day, but of course we didn't. We held to our guns as we had promised ourselves we would do, and I could tell he was disappointed when he didn't get the sale. As we continue to invite more and more window companies into our home, I realized that the reason that Mike from Mad City put so much pressure on us that day to make a decision is because he knew his window was way overpriced, and he wanted to make sure he got us locked down and into contract before we were able to gather more quotes or realize that his windows were significantly more expensive than his competition. I will say, looking back, he was very professional and he was tenacious. And it was obvious that he paid attention when he went to window school. He had his presentation down pat. He did exactly what I was expecting all of them to do, and that is to put on a great big show and waste over 2 hours of my day. But ultimately, my husband and I chose to go with virtual view windows. They are currently #1 on the Wacky Window Woman price comparison chart. They were the second window company we reached out to for a bid for our home with 12 windows. The fact that they allowed us to request a quote by submitting interior window pictures, the number of windows, and the measurements without us having to sit through a painful 2.5 hour window presentation was a huge plus. The joy I felt when I finally found a company who was willing to do business with us the way we preferred was refreshing. Once we got the quote from Virtual View Windows, we realized it was like half the price of Mad City Windows and Baths. The sales rep at Virtual View, Joe, had offered to do a virtual demo for us and presentation if we wanted it. He said it was optional and that it was totally up to us whether we wanted to take advantage of this free virtual meeting or not. But in the end, I did reach out to Joe and ask him if we could take him up on the offer, as we had some questions, and we also wanted to ask him a few things about his window. So we had learned a lot from Mike at Mad City, thank you. And due to this recent demonstration from Mike, it meant that we now wanted to confirm if Virtual View's windows had the same features and top-notch energy ratings. So Joe arranged for a Zoom meeting for the three of us, and during that meeting, he afforded us the opportunity to ask questions. So we wanted more information on how his window was manufactured and the specifications of his windows. He showed us how the window operates, how to tilt them in for cleaning, how the locks work, and he spoke of the material that the frame and the sashes are made of. He also went on to share the energy ratings and explained that he had quoted us both, the double pane and the triple pane as we'd requested, and again, both came with low E and argon gas. We asked his opinion on whether the triple pane would help with the noise, and he assured us it would help. He further explained that triple pane windows are not soundproof by any measure, but they would significantly cut down on the noise that we hear from the street behind our home. Also, he did this really cool thing where he took a golf tee and he stuck it through the screen. He indicated that the screen is made of memory mesh. And so after a few moments, he then pulled the golf tee out of the screen. And of course, as you would imagine, it left a hole big enough that a bug or a fly could get through. But then he did this cool thing where he just basically rubbed the screen together with his fingers. And because of that memory mesh screen, it went right back together. Bam, no hole, no bugs, no flies could get through. The window that Virtual View Windows offers is the Alside Mezzo Quattro window, which comes in double pane and triple pane. It qualifies for the Energy Star 7.0 rating, not just Energy Star, but Energy Star 7.0, which was upgraded in 2023. The Alside window has a very low U factor and a very low air infiltration number. Its ratings were as good or if not better than the window that we were shown by Mike at Mad City, but at half the price. Joe also mentioned that if we opted to upgrade to triple pane, we could qualify for that $600 tax credit next year when we do our 2025 taxes. As you continue to gather information on your replacement window journey, I encourage you to reach out to Virtual View Windows, and at the least, let them give you a virtual quote so you have something to compare. But then don't forget also, you can refer to the Wacky Window Woman price comparison chart, where I have already sat through the demos with many of the larger, well-known replacement window companies across the United States. Use that chart to help you better understand the price differences between some of the larger, well-known names such as Window World, Window Nation, Champion, and Renewal by Andersen. I'll put a link to the website and the chart in the description and the comment below. When I came to realize that those big brand name windows are some of the most expensive options out there, with Virtual Views, you can get an equal or possibly better quality window for like 1/2 or 1/3 of the price of those high-priced name brand window brands. Why pay more if you don't have to? I encourage you to visit the Wacky Window Woman website and comparison chart to better understand how replacement window companies compare when you stack them up one against the other. The chart shows prices, warranty, financing options, and energy ratings for all of the brands. And then regardless of who you choose to purchase your replacement windows from, be sure to tell them that the Wacky Window Woman sent you.